Please welcome the founder and principal of Ready-Made Architecture and Design, Suchi Reddy.
We build our world outward from our bodies, our first home. We inhabit our bodies, our clothing, our homes, our communities, our cities, our countries, our world. And the through line that connects all of these worlds that we build and inhabit is feeling. My first experience with feeling and the power of space happened when I was 10. I was a child growing up in India, and I had my first epiphany that my house was actually shaping the person I was going to become. What's your first memory of space? How did that shape you? This and all of these layers that connect us, our homes, our cities, our worlds, and how we feel about our relationship to one another defines our experience as humans. So how can we ignore it, both as individuals and collectives? And this connection cannot be created only by the silos of planning, development, and governance, but by life-centered grasp of the interdisciplinarity of science, the arts, architecture, and now data and technology. So what are the innovations we have at our disposal to make our cities more livable, feel better, more human, safer, and healthier? Enter the field of neuroaesthetics. I love that word. I fell in love with that word when I first heard it. It's the study of how our brains and bodies react to our environments and our experiences. And it's a translational field contributed to by a large group of people around the world working in the fields of neuroscience. They're cognitive scientists, environmental psychologists, architects, philosophers, and others. And it aims to illuminate our human experience, urban and otherwise, from the point of view of the body, this democratic space that we all inhabit, irrespective of our sociopolitical, economic, or cultural differences. The brain, the body, our feelings are all activated constantly by our environments. You know you feel different because you're in this space, as opposed to any other space. Studies in this field range from identifying the reaction of the body to things like color, texture, proportion, this artwork, or to the rise of heart rate and cortisol as you navigate monotonous streetscapes, to the salutogenic effects of restorative spaces that are missing in many of our urban contexts. And applied to space and urban design, neuroaesthetics becomes neurourbanism. And it helps us to understand, again, how we individually and collectively, as brains and bodies, respond to our environments for the purpose of improving our biological, psychological, social, cultural, and even spiritual outcomes together. So we're in a constant state of being acted on and interacting with our environments in a very real way. You never imagine a spider without its web. Somehow we think as humans we exist outside of the spaces that we're in. And it's actually an incredible intertwining, a constant relationship. So we can measure these interactions, as we did in this project that we did with Google and the IAM lab at Johns Hopkins a few years ago, where we had people in different rooms and we measured their physical reactions to these spaces. And what we measured were things like heart rate variability, skin conductance, skin temperature. And we could show people that the space was actually acting on them. There were places they were at ease, their bodies were at ease, there were places where they were not. And this is very important information for us to be able to carry forward as research in this field. We could also do it in an analogous way, where we did in Prospect Park a few years ago, where we covered 2 acres of the park and 7,000 pinwheels and allowed the diverse communities that surrounded the park to express their feelings, both about the park and about the city on these pinwheels. Fully sustainable project, by the way. And a great way to collect valuable data for the vitality of public space. So if you understand this on a communal scale and a much larger kind of a city scale, the knowledge that our built environment acts on us can direct the design of more engaging streetscapes for direct experiential and therefore economic return, better parks for better health, less load on the healthcare system, better transit patterns for lowered stress and cognitive load for healthier communities. So cities such as Stockholm, Melbourne, and Amsterdam, which are pictured here, already implement some of this work. There's zoning that requires a certain amount of openings on a streetscape that will make you feel safer, that allow you to interact with these spaces better. And their new challenges, as you heard in the panel kind of that went before you, or me, is the monocultures that are affected by immigration. And this is a new frontier for work in feeling and inclusive strategies. So what would happen if we decided to design for what's missing in our collective experience? Could we imagine our cities being designed for states of being so that cities are not imagined just as retail, residential, commercial zones, but as zones for innovation, exploration, connection, restoration, and transition, and that these zones can be imagined at different scales so that they can be healing elements, they can be physical amenities, and they can be economic catalysts. So each zone is designed to amplify vitality and joy. These are complex feelings, vitality and joy. That's not a single feeling. And this is a set of experiences that you could imagine a city being designed for so that it creates this feeling. And this can be the states of being model. So what would it look like, perhaps, to have zones of restoration of multiple scales in our cities, whether it's multiple pods on a street or a micropark that's designed to specifically stimulate or soothe your senses? Can we expand this paradigm of feeling to account for neuroinclusion? 20% of our global population identifies as neurodivergent, and we have to address them in our cities if we are going to be inclusive. Surface level standards, such as building codes and the universal and inclusive design guidelines, have demonstrated that neurodivergent people are in need of innovative architecture. And cities have to respond if they're going to evolve. You heard from the mayor of Mesa, Arizona, just before me. They're also pioneers in being an autism certified city, where Visit Mesa encouraged and worked with local businesses to partake in autism training so that they could better assist all traveler needs. So the future of design is feeling. Reorienting the compass of design toward feeling is the key to unlocking a paradigm in the design of our communities. It can create restoration, transition, and refuge that we deeply crave, and to allow us to sustainably enjoy the vitality and the joy that we look for in our communities. And this has been proven to alleviate the growing urban ills of depression, schizophrenia, and even loneliness. Design can be used to generate equity, empathy, and agency. Designing our cities to support communities must include designing for mental health and physical well-being of the people first. And in doing so, we can generate an economic effect that is sustainable, revolutionary, supportive, and evolutionary. The power of design to amplify feeling and generate change is an indispensable tool for our survival. Thank you.